husband and I had a baby that passed away, 2.5 months old. And I had gotten pregnant again right away. My doctor had told me I had a condition called full placenta previa.
This child was very important to both of us.
We had no idea that placenta previa was dangerous. My husband and I were watching the Rescue 911 show, and there was a woman with a condition of placenta previa who had an emergency, and she almost died. So I went to the library and did a lot of research on the condition.
I was just about to go to work. I had my truck running.
I walked 2 feet, and blood started pouring out of me.
The first thing when I walked into the kitchen and saw my wife bleeding was I just saw this on TV 2 weeks ago. I immediately just called 911.
We just did everything that they did on the show. We laid me down, we put my feet up.
Honestly, if I didn't watch the show and I walked into the kitchen and found my wife the way I found her, I would have panicked.
The last thing I remember was a woman holding my arm saying, you have no pulse.
I was afraid to go to the hospital. When I walked into the ICU, the same crew was there that was at my house. And they said, congratulations, Dad. Your wife is fine and your son is fine.
We now had this special little child to make a happy home for. My older son named Christopher Rainbow Sunshine when he was born, and he's really been that for us.
Happy is not the word for it. It's my life. It's what I get up and go to work for. I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Discovery is just as much a part of parenting as it is of growing up. On the morning of July 1st, 1993, Janet Jones had an appointment to look at a house in a rural area outside Sacramento, California, where she and her husband hoped to raise their 4 children. Before the day was over, they had learned that if those around us aren't prepared to respond, a split second can change our lives forever.
Want to sing a song?
Yeah.
How about walking shoes?
Okay. I put on my walking shoes.
My walking.
11-year-old Andrea was seated up front next to her mother. Her 3 younger brothers were in the back seat.
'Cause I want to walk with you. Mom, what's the matter? And she looked over at me and she said, I just don't feel very well. And she turned the air on and she rolled down her window.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm not feeling very good.
All of a sudden, my mom pulled over really fast, and she kind of looked pale a little. I thought something had to be wrong. She did a U-turn, and she started to go again. And I did not want her to drive because I didn't want to get in a crash. So I told her to pull over, but she wouldn't pull over.
We gotta get home.
Please, Mom, pull over. I looked up ahead, and I didn't see any cars, so I thought it was okay. And then I looked over at my mom. Mom, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! I remembered this story on 911 about the little boy who pulled over the mom's truck because she fainted, and I knew I had to do that or we were going to be dead. When the car finally stopped, I looked over at my mom and I thought, we need some help for her though. We need some help. That's when I dialed 911.
Battalion 81, Rescue 81, ill woman, Shorthorn and Tabner, Squad 83, Medic 271, Map 13.
Within 11 minutes, members of the Wilton Fire Department responded to Andrea's call for help on the car phone.
We stayed in the car till the firemen arrived, and when they did arrive, my mom started to wake up, and I got my brothers out of the car because I didn't want them in the way.
Okay.
My sister made us go out of the car so they can take care of my mom.
Moments later, Elk Grove Fire Department paramedic Mike Slate and his partner arrived on the scene.
She seemed like a young, healthy adult, not typical to have medical problems like that, so we were concerned.
They'll get you loaded up on the gurney here.
When we advised the patient that she needed to go to the hospital, she was very concerned about her children, what was going to happen to her children. We assured her that her children would be fine, and that eased her so she could concentrate on herself.
These guys are going to take care of your mom, okay? Everything will be just fine.
I was scared, but I knew I had to stay calm. Because if I did panic, my brothers would know something was really wrong. So I just cried a little.
Her heart rate maintained just right at 60, which is borderline to a bradycardic rhythm, so that concerned me. I obtained a blood sample so we could determine what her blood sugar was, and it showed that she had a blood sugar of 70. Okay, you're going to feel a little poke in the back of your hand, all right? Normal blood sugar is 80 to 100, so hers was significantly low.
When they took her away in the ambulance, I was like, oh, please, God, don't let her die. She's important to all of us.
Janet Jones was taken to Sutter Memorial Hospital for treatment and diagnosis and released 2 days later. Over the next few weeks, Dr. Stephen Stark administered a series of tests and discovered that Janet suffers from hypoglycemia and a mild hereditary heart condition which can cause fainting.
Janet has more symptoms than she initially thought, pretty much on an every 2 to 3 day basis. And what we've done is given her a specific medication to block this reflex. And now with the medication, Janet has had almost total resolution of the symptoms and therefore should no longer be prone to passing out.
It's been 2 months since the accident.
I can't articulate how upset I was about possibly hurting my children because they're my life. It was just a quick flash decision that I made, but it was not the right decision. I should have stopped the car.
Backflip.
We're mostly active people, but we watch Rescue 911 every Tuesday, and we feel that they can learn something from it. I'm just so thankful to everyone that was involved. They saved my family.
If Andrea had not seen Rescue 911, I'm really not sure that she would know how to act in the event of an emergency. I think panic would have taken over. It is upsetting to think about what could have happened, but I rather focus on the achievement of what she did do. It was a heroic effort.
Andrea's my hero. You could never measure how proud I am.
Sissy saved all our lives, and I love her.